Welcome to Repairdown, the show where we tear down something while trying to fix it. Today we have a little RC project, and by RC I mean a rice cooker. Aroma 6-cup rice cooker. This rice cooker is supposed to automatically switch from cook to warm mode when the rice is done, but lately it's been switching way too soon and not cooking our rice properly. So let's try to fix it. This rice cooker has a powerful heat source in it. It generates 350 watts of heat. I've been asking around, and here are some guesses for the circuit of the rice cooker. The circuit starts with wall power. There is a heating element connected to power whenever it's plugged in, and that would be like the warm heating element. And then on the other side of some sort of switch is the cook heating element. This switch here is the intelligence. Let's assume that in warm mode it's using about 1/4 power, so that would be about 90 watts, and the rest of the power, 270 watts about, would be for the cook heating element. Given this power and this voltage, that is 160 ohms for the warm heating element and 53.3 ohms of resistance for the cook heating element. Somehow this $20 rice cooker can tell when the rice is done cooking, and it'll be interesting to see how they do that reliably and simply and cheaply. Some people have suggested it senses when the water temperature goes above 100 degrees C, and another thought is that maybe this spring in the bottom lifts when the bowl gets too light. Let's find out. I found the hot part of the rice cooker. This is a cast metal material. I don't know what metal it is. It's labeled 350 watts, 120 volts. It has a heating element inside that's been cast in place, and it also has three little feet that it uses to sit on the inner shell of the rice cooker. Something strange about the heating element is that there's only one heating element, not two, as I originally guessed. So at this point, I don't really get how they do the warm mode. The resistance came out to 43 ohms. I'm a little stumped with how this works, so I'm going to try and lay out the circuit on paper. A little confused by this component. This was screwed underneath the pot. I've done some poking around, and it turns out that it was as expected. There are two heating elements. This is the first one, and this is also a heating element. And there's just one switch, and it is controlled through a lever by this guy. So it all comes down to this. At work, there's been some disagreement about whether this senses weight or temperature, and it turns out it does both. This dongle controls the switch. Whenever it's out, the heating element is turned off. The spring inside pushing the dongle outward. But if you push it in really far, a magnet catches the dongle and holds it inward, turning on the main heating element. It turns out what happens when this magnet gets too hot, it loses its magnetism and ejects the dongle out, turning off the heating element. So I'll try to reproduce it. I forgot to mention also that if you remove weight from the spring at any time, the magnet is lifted away from the dongle, which disengages the dongle and turns off the main heating element. Next, I tried using my hot glue gun and my soldering iron to get the heat trigger to activate, but those two things weren't hot enough. I think they didn't uniformly heat up the entire magnet, so I went to the stove, and I was able to get the heat trigger to activate using the stove. So here are a couple different activations. And you can also see while it's hot that if I push down on the dongle, it no longer engages the magnet. I'm throwing in the towel. I declare this rice cooker recycled. Too bad I couldn't fix it, but now I've got a beefy micro switch and a 350 watt heat source. Whoa.